Good. And so in this trade, in this video, was a bad code. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to navigate uh, through price using dealing range theory, and why remaining flexible in your trading ideas or your buyers is important, right? And so coming into this week on Euro, or this is what I was expecting, that we come to this level, which is uh, matches onto matches with whatever the word is, the daily bearish fair value gap, right? Then we have this corresponding. I have the analysis already there, my forecast, and so you can have a look at it if you wish to. Then I was expecting that would move down, but as you can see, it did not work out, right? But now I want to go through what made me change my idea or my bias on Euro odd. So going into the monthly, this is what I saw. Right. Going into the monthly, this is what I saw. Right. So I marked my range from this high, the high of this body, to the low here, and I saw that price had traded into the 75 DRT level and rejected down. So I was anticipating that would move down a bit more, but what I saw was that we have this fair value gap just below the 50% and in discount, right? And basically what we see here is that price has failed multiple occasions, 1, 2, 3, to even close below the 50% of this bullish fair value gap. And then from using the ideas from simple support and resistance, we see that whenever price gets to this place, it sells, and it gets to this place, it buys. So there's buying pressure here and there's sell pressure here, right? So going into the weekly, I think that will be a bit clearer. Good. So as you can see over here and then there, but in the weekly you can see that over here there is this tiny bullish order block inside of the bullish fair value gap, the monthly bullish fair value gap. Let me take that off. Good. And then this order block. So you see that here we just tap into it on it at the very tip, and then we move away, came back, didn't really get a touch, and then here we really actually got a deeper touch, sweeping these relatively equal lows right here, dipping a bit further into the order block before. Then going into the daily, this was the fair value gap I was hoping would see sales from targeting the lower side, right? But unfortunately it failed. Going into the 4 hour and then the 1 hour would help us understand why price failed, or this bearish fair value gap failed to offer support here. So going into the 4 hour, you see that price traded up, leaving what bullish fair value gaps up. So here was a breakaway gap, here was also a breakaway gap. And then when you going back into the daily, what is evident? Evidence is this. See this daily range, from this high to this low, right? Because we have swept buy side liquidity on this side and we've swept sell side liquidity on these relatively equal lows, so that makes it valid for us to use. Now into the 1 hour, trying to get this. You see that once price pushes up, from that low, disrespects this fair value gap, which is in discount, and the high of the fair value gap is at the 25 DRT level. You see that these consecutively down close candles 1, 2, 3, 4 become what? A bullish order block once we disrespect it to the upside and we left a tiny fair value gap. Let me try and get that well. Yeah, then we left this tiny fair value gap right here. This tiny fair value gap, dipped into it once, twice, and then moved away. Price comes back, then we see the very high of that order block is here, right? Let me mark that out and see how price refers to that place. So the very high of that order block is, these order blocks is here, right? And then again we have the low, the high, lower low, and then we move up. And so these candles 1, 2, 3, the bullish, those 3 bullish candles can be considered as what? A bullish breaker. Why? A low, high, lower low, they will go above them. So we tap the extreme end of this bullish order block coupled with this breaker, bullish breaker, and then we had the fair value gap here as well. So you see how many confluences we are having at this particular place. And then you see that we have the 25 DRT gap over here, the 25 DRT gap. So let me try and mark that out as well. Let's see how it helps with right. So we see all the confluences we have at this level. Then we see how the high of the 25 DRT gap matches exactly with this tiny fair value gap we have in here. So we see all the confluences that we have, the bullish confluences we have over here. And so when price dipped here, I actually entered a trade in here on my MT5 account, right? But then I placed, when price got to this place, I trailed my stop to this place. I was taken out, and then price did what? Rallied, right? And so you see how price used all the bullish confluences here to move up, right? Let me take some of this off so that it becomes a bit neat. Then see, going back into the 4 hour, I want to establish something. So going back into the 4 hour, we see that the high of that order block is right here. You see that the high of that order block is right here, and then we move up, created this fair value gap here. Okay, we created this fair value gap here, disrespected this fair value gap to the left. So the left side of the chart is also important. It's not all about what's on the right side, what you can see. The left side is also important. So this fair value gap got disrespected to the left side. Then we see how price traded into the 50% of that fair value, inverse fair value gap, found support right in there, and then moved. Going into the 1 hour, let me see if I could reduce this. Okay, so I think that is fine. So you see how the 50%, we find support right in there, and then we move. We swept this low where my stop loss was, swept this low, run into the 50% of the inverse fair value gap, and then from then on we've been trading higher. So going into the daily, we've run into this volume imbalance at the 50%, right? And so if price should continue, would want to go higher, I would anticipate a drop, some form of reaction from this volume imbalance, retracement in here before we continue to move up, right? And so I'll be looking for bullish fair value gaps in the 4-hour, something like this, right? Something like this, and then we can target sell side liquidity here, and then we can also target the remainder of this fair value gap, right? The remainder of this fair value gap. Can also target the remainder of this fair value gap, right? Yes. Then we've got the 75 DRT level very close to this as well. So this and then this. So you see how price, the left side of the chart allows us to navigate or gives us an idea of where price is and how price is going to use those BDRs on the left side to move upwards or downwards on the chart. So it helps us navigate through price. And so this was what made me change my mind on Euro odd being bearish, and then I managed to get a few bucks on this one. I was anticipating getting into the trade, but I wanted to get a reaction, a retracement before I entered, but I never got that, and then it went away. So with this video, this is basically what I wanted to discuss. See how price, we can use DRT to navigate through price to help us develop sound biases, then get into proper trades to help us maximize profitability, right? So if someone was here, a scalper could have just targeted this high or these relatively equal highs right here, right? And then the moment we dropped into this, someone could have targeted this place or that, and then we are out. Okay, so that's it.